Number 10, pushing him away. A few months before Miley and Liam officially announced their breakup to the world, a viral video ran rampant on social media which showed her physically pushing him away. They were at the world premiere of Avengers Endgame in April of 2021, and while posing on the red carpet, Liam was getting annoyed at Miley, proposing provocatively and trying to get a funny picture while licking his face. At this point, he becomes frustrated and says, "Can't you just behave for once?" In response, Miley then mouths the words, "This is me," before pushing him aside and posing for pictures all on her own. At the time, she was heavily criticized for wanting to be the center of attention and embarrassing Liam at the premiere for his older brother's movie. But as we know now, this wasn't the case at all. If anything, this was yet another moment where we really see the difference between the two of them. She doesn't take these red carpet events too seriously and wants to have a little fun. Meanwhile, Liam is the complete opposite. There's nothing wrong with the fact that he's a bit more reserved, but he should not have tried to dim her light. Number 9, calling her marriage a disaster. Back in March last year, Miley made fun of her brief marriage to Liam while she was helping with a public proposal. During her performance at Lollapalooza, Brazil, she saw a fan propose to another fan in the crowd and invited the couple up on stage for their special moment. After congratulating the newly engaged couple, she then wished them luck on their next chapter and said, "Honey, I hope your marriage is better than mine. Mine was an effing disaster." A video of the moment went viral on Twitter, and it seemed like everyone had an opinion about the amount of shade that was thrown. Someone wrote, "She never misses an opportunity to throw a dig about her marriage to Liam. The breakup must have been really bad because this is like the third time I've heard her bring it up." Another user wrote, "The breakup must have been messy. This is the third time she brought up the divorce." Miley literally says her marriage was a disaster, and they were married for less than 2 years. While there are some who said that it was immature and petty of her to call out Liam while she was on stage, others applauded her for being real and finding the humor after going through a heartbreaking divorce. Number 8, Instagram Live diss. In October of 2019, while on Instagram Live, Miley threw major shade at Liam and made some pretty controversial comments in the process. Streaming to fans from her home in LA, the star invited her boyfriend at the time, Cody Simpson, to join a chat when she made a dig at Liam. Gushing over her new man to her millions of followers, Miley said she thought she had to be gay because she thought all guys were evil before she met Cody. She said, "There are good people out there that just happen to have D's. I've only ever met one, and he's on this live." She then points to Cody and says, "There are good men out there, guys. Don't give up." She then slips in the fact that she's only ever dated women because she had been turned off by men, which of course was a little problematic because it's not as though people can just choose their sexuality. Miley said, "You don't have to be gay. There are good people with D's out there. You've just got to find them. You've just got to find a D that's not a D, if you know what I mean." Although that last part was a little weird, she very clearly made her point by uplifting Cody and subtly dissing all the men that she's been with before. But we know that she was mostly just talking about Liam. Number 7, that awkward interview. In 2019, the former couple attended the Vanity Fair Oscars party, and they were asked by a reporter what a dance number would look like between them. When Miley began dancing on Liam, clearly wanting to have a bit of a joke, he shuts it down and says, "We're not doing this, not on the carpet." When that video went viral, fans pointed to it as the downfall of their relationship, because what was really supposed to be a silly moment on the red carpet ended up showing us how different the two of them had become. One user commented, "LMAO, did he not realize who he was dating? That's like dating a comedian and being mad that he's cracking jokes." Someone else wrote, "How did they even date in the first place? They seem like two completely different people, which is why this is so cringy." At another point in the interview, the reporter lavished praise on Miley and said, "We've loved you for so long," but Liam apparently thought the compliment was for him and he responded by saying thank you, which led the reporter to clarify and say, "Oh yeah, I'm not talking about you." In response, he jokingly rolled his eyes and smiled, but some people pointed to this moment as evidence that he was showing some signs of jealousy in their relationship. Number 6 says she's sick of men. In July of 2019, a little while after the pushing incident, Miley and Liam were spotted having a public fight. Following the argument, Miley was on stage performing Wrecking Ball at a concert in Glastonbury, and at one point she yelled, "I'm effing sick of men." Possibly the biggest red flag about their relationship at that time was that Liam was spotted without his wedding ring in July, just days after the incident occurred. The actor was spotted looking glum while picking up coffee by himself in LA. Miley was also spotted without her wedding ring in a slew of Instagram photos uploaded to her page over the past few days, up to hours before the news of the couple split became public. Not only that, but the song she was performing at the time, Wrecking Ball, is notoriously well known to be about their breakup. Once when she performed it in London, she said to her fans, "I wrote this song after somebody who broke my heart, and I just wanted to say F F-U, and make sure every time he turned on his radio, he would hear my song and will keep hearing it for the rest of his life. Number 5. The release of Flowers. The hype around Miley's new song began when fans noticed its release date. The new single dropped on January 13th, which was Liam Hemsworth's 33rd birthday. While yes, this could be a simple coincidence, when you look at the song's lyrics, it seems like it's more than that. Through the music, Miley opens up about finding joy and empowerment after a painful breakup, with the chorus centering around buying yourself flowers and learning how to embrace independence. If you didn't know, Miley and Liam dated on and off for about a decade and had a whirlwind marriage before their relationship came to an end. So when it comes to Hollywood relationships, they were actually together for a very long time, because they met when they were teenagers. They first crossed paths on the set of the last song back in 2009. They fell in love during production, and at the time Miley was quoted saying, "He really respects me for who I am, because coming from Australia, he really didn't know me as the celebrity I am here. I got to tell him about myself on my own terms and my own way. He had no preconceived notion of who I was supposed to be." Back when they met, Miley was already mega famous, so it makes sense that she was always hoping to find someone that wouldn't get caught up in that craziness. Number 4 says she doesn't miss him. In November of 2020, Miley released her 7th studio album Plastic Hearts, which features a song called WTF Do I Know. That track includes the line, "I don't even miss you anymore," and fans have speculated that this was directed at Liam, before Miley literally confirmed it herself on Howard Stern. She revealed on the show that that line was referring to Liam, and said, "Sometimes you miss people more than others, and sometimes things get easier. Time kind of heals all, but that was at a time where I felt really strong, and then some days I don't." She spoke about what really ended her marriage with Liam, and insisted that alcohol was not to blame. She said that she still had love for him, but there was too much conflict in their relationship. She said, "When I come home, I want to be anchored by someone. I don't get off on drama or fighting." And that just brings us back to the idea that the two of them became fundamentally different people towards the end of their relationship. Since they met when they were both very young, teenagers, it was almost guaranteed that they were going to grow and change into the people they were always supposed to be. That's likely where the conflict came from. Number 3, happier without him. In August of 2019, Miley took to Twitter to address the rumors that she and Liam split up due to her cheating on him. She claimed that although she had to make a decision to leave her previous life behind, meaning the one she shared with Liam, her life post-divorce is actually the healthiest and happiest that she's been in a long time. She tweeted, "I can admit to a lot of things, but I refuse to admit that my marriage ended because of cheating. Liam and I have been together for a decade. I've said it before and it remains true. I love Liam and always will. But at this point, I had to make a healthy decision for myself to leave a previous life behind. I am the healthiest and happiest I've been in a long time. You can say I'm a twerking, smoking, foul-mouthed hillbilly, but I am not a liar. I am proud to say I'm simply in a different place from where I was when I was younger." And just like that, Miley was able to hit back at the haters and shut down rumors that she was the reason for her marriage to end. Not only that, but she hinted at the fact that she had outgrown Liam as a person, and that was a good thing. Number 2, Bruno Mars lyrics. Although the singer isn't credited as a sample on the song Flowers, many people believe that his 2012 hit song When I Was Your Man was reworked to fit into Miley's breakup anthem. This pretty much makes her a lyrical genius. In Bruno Mars' song, he expressed regret about a past relationship and pretty much admits that he should have been more attentive to his ex when they were together. He sings, "I should have bought you flowers and held your hand. Should have given you all my hours when I had the chance." While in Miley's version, she changes up the lyrics a bit to reflect her state of mind without Liam, and sings, "I can buy myself flowers and I can hold my own hand. Talk to myself for hours, say things you don't understand." In the song, you can see that she's finding joy and empowerment after a breakup, and essentially saying that she's better off on her own. And even the tune of the two tracks are similar. Fans have since theorized that Liam once dedicated the song to Miley, and if that's true, it would make Flowers all the more brutal since she reinvented the song to be about self-love. And coming in at number 1, Taking the High Road. Miley was heavily criticized by Liam's family, who seemed to make it their mission to make her feel bad about how their relationship panned out. Chris Hemsworth and his wife Elsa Pataki were obviously angry about the way she was supposedly treating Liam. In one interview, Elsa spoke about their breakup and said, "My brother-in-law, well, after a relationship that you've dedicated 10 years to, he's a little bit down, but he's coping well. He's a strong boy and he deserves the best. I think he deserves much better. You can always find support in your family, and he's joined at the hip with his brother, who has been there to give all the strength he needed." She was referencing the fact that Liam moved in with Chris and Elsa after the divorce for extra support. Chris Hemsworth also dissed Miley in an interview with News.com. He was speaking about his younger brother's journey and said, "He's out there training and staying fit and back in Australia doing his thing. We got him out of Malibu, which is where Liam and Miley lived together. Now, she could have easily responded and defended herself, considering that Liam's family only had one side of the story, but Miley obviously chose to be the bigger person here and not let that negativity get to her. Moving on, what is Ben Affleck doing working at Dunkin Donuts? On Monday, the 50-year-old actor was spotted dressed in the full employee uniform while taking orders at one of the store's locations in Boston. Sporting the classic brown employee t-shirt, a matching visor, and a drive-through headset, apparently he was filming a commercial, which is such a shame because that dashes everyone's hopes and dreams of going through the Dunkin Donuts drive-through and being served by Ben Affleck. An inside source spoke to Entertainment Tonight and said Ben is heavily involved in the commercial, as he pitched the script, is directing and starring in it. Ben has loved Dunkin for years and his partnership couldn't be more perfect. He's been very hands-on with the whole process and is excited for everyone to see. Well, that's a fact. Think about it. He's basically always been an ambassador for them as he's been working off the clock. Time and time again, he's been seen walking around LA holding a bag of Dunkin Donuts. So clearly it was just a matter of time before a collab came around. Apparently though, Ben was put to work for real while filming the commercial. How do we know this? Well, there was one lucky customer, Lisa McKay, who pulled up to the Dunkins in Medford, Massachusetts, told Entertainment Tonight Ben Affleck was filming a Dunkin's commercial yesterday. I was surprised and nervous when I saw him. He took my order and I handed him a $10 note and he threw it right back at me and handed me my iced coffee. He was super nice, very funny and handsome. Of course, I didn't see J-Lo, but I heard she was inside. One fan managed to capture a video of the whole thing, and even though it's deleted now, you can actually see Ben and J-Lo together at the Dunkin store, just as filming wraps up and the crew celebrates the end of his shift. In the clip, J-Lo sips a drink as she joins her husband behind the counter, while he thanks the crew and jokes about his place on the employee wall. As I mentioned before, the partnership comes as no surprise. We know that Ben loves Dunkins, and of course photos of him collecting the food went viral. There was one of him holding an iced coffee and taking a long sigh, which has gone on to become one of the internet's most circulated pictures. Not to mention the time in 2019 when he gushed about his favorite chain finally making its way to LA, and he literally made it his mission to get the word out. He said, "I have Dunkin Donuts every day. It's very weird, I have it every day and people are always like, where is that? Is that near here? So I feel like I'm spreading the word." So there you have it. It's good to see that Ben is finally getting some kind of sponsorship deal out of all of this. You really gotta love his enthusiasm though. In August last year, Ben and J-Lo took a post-wedding trip to the coffee chain in California, where they posted pictures of them kissing while he held a bag of Dunkin Donuts in one hand. The commercial is actually set to be their first on-screen collaboration since they were in the movie Jersey Girl together 20 years ago. It looks like Kim Kardashian might be a little bit jealous of her ex Pete Davidson dating Emily Ratajkowski. In fact, some people say she's thrown some shade at their relationship. As we know, Kim and Pete started dating after they met on SNL in October of 2021, and they ended up dating for 9 months. So it wasn't exactly a little fling, they did have a serious relationship. Now it seems like she doesn't approve of his new model girlfriend, and she somehow expressed that on TikTok. Fans pointed to a video that she posted of her dancing and singing along to Ariana Grande's song Santa Tell Me, along with her little daughter North. And because Ariana is one of Pete Davidson's exes, people seem to think that that is some kind of message. One fan commented, "The same day news comes out about Pete and Emily, huh?" While another one said, "Kim really fired up a TikTok to Ariana Grande after the Pete and Emrata news. And Kim K using Ariana Grande music in a TikTok, oh, it's happening." Of course, this is all just speculation because Kim and North could easily just be getting into the Christmas spirit. Now all this drama comes after Pete and Emily have decided to make it official. The comedian was spotted in the Big Apple celebrating his 29th birthday with his girlfriend Emily, and photographers snapped pictures of the two of them hugging in a building hallway when they were escaping the freezing New York City temperatures. They first met in Manhattan before traveling separately to Brooklyn. According to TMZ, their hookup adventure started as Pete drove to Emily's West Village apartment, all to pick her up, but when paparazzi found him, he apparently bolted from the scene, probably because he wanted to keep their relationship on the down low. Then apparently Emily ordered a rideshare which took her to a rendezvous with Pete. The pair first made headlines earlier this week after being spotted together by celebrity gossip Instagram account Dumois. Much to the internet's collective shock, a source close to Pete told People magazine that they are seeing each other. Sparks started flying when mutual friends set them up. Now the former SNL comedian and the model are said to be in the very early stages of dating and apparently really like each other. As for Emily, this kind of fun romance that she's bound to have with Pete is exactly what she needs right now as she gets back into the dating game. As we know, she recently split up from her husband Sebastian Bear McLeod in September after it was alleged that he cheated on her. 31-year-old 21-year-old mom of one says that she has been enjoying dating ever since. She told Harper's Bazaar, "I can tell you that I have never been single before. I feel all the emotions, anger, sadness, I feel excited, I feel joy, I feel levity. Every day is different. The only good thing I know is that I'm feeling all of those things, which is nice because it makes me believe that I'll be okay." She did admit though that it was hard for her to go on a date with someone and think about how much she did or didn't even like them. Basically, she would get too in her head about the date while it was happening. She said, "I would have been thinking about how they were perceiving me, what it meant, what they wanted from me, what it meant about my self-worth. I don't have that anymore." This news is pretty crazy since it's common knowledge that Pete has been out of the dating game ever since breaking up with Kim K in August. And he's decided to keep a low profile recently as he's been focusing more on his career and on going to trauma therapy. Earlier this year, Pete decided to seek mental health treatment, mostly due to disturbing and violent posts that were made against him by Kanye West while he was dating Kim. One of the things that Kanye did to mess with him was that he posted a photo of a fake New York Times cover on Instagram with the headline reading, "Pete Davidson is dead at 28. For some reason, he thought it would be hilarious if everyone thought that Pete had died. Then he made a social media post saying, "Hold your spouse close, make sure they know how much you love and appreciate them, because there is a skeet lurking in every dirty alleyway waiting to help destroy your family and walk around in Calvin jeans around your children." So while Pete was probably head over heels for Kim, when they eventually got together, Kanye saw him as public enemy number one. The rapper was so threatened by the comedian that he made it his mission to give Pete a hard time, and it looks like he succeeded, because now Pete literally has to undergo trauma therapy. So as iconic as their relationship was, especially when they both had platinum hair, realistically their relationship between Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson was never going to work. But as for Kim and Emily, they actually seem to be a lot better suited to each other because they're both in similar stages of life. So let's just hope that Pete is not going to have to contend with any more jealous exes.
Typically there is one performer for the halftime show, but instead J-Lo performed with Shakira. During an interview with Andy Cohen, Estefan said, "Look, this is the bottom line. You have very little time, like 12 minutes or something, to get things on and off the set. So could you do it with one person? Yes. But I think they wanted to throw a Miami and Latin extravaganza and they tried to pack it as much as possible." Estefan, who had declined being the third performer on the show, continued on saying, "Okay, and imagine what J-Lo would have said if I was the third performer. I literally would come out, do Shake Your Body and Conga and go out. It was their moment. Plus, I didn't want to go on a diet in December." So what would J-Lo have said if Estefan had been the third performer? It became clear in the documentary Halftime, which was made about Lopez's experience with the performance, that she was not happy at all about being told she would be splitting her time with Shakira. Her manager Benny Medina said, "Typically you have one headliner at a Super Bowl. That headliner constructs a show, and should they choose to have other guests, that's their choice. It was an insult to say you needed two Latinas to do the job that one artist historically has done." And he wasn't the only one who felt insulted. J-Lo saying, "We have 6 minutes. We have 30 seconds of a song, and if we take a minute, that's it. We've got 5 left. But there's gotta be certain songs that we sing though. We have to have our singing moments. It's not going to be a dance review. We have to sing our message. This is the worst idea in the world to have 2 people do the Super Bowl. It was the worst idea in the world." In the documentary, which you can watch on Netflix, the 2 performers are seen talking to each other and discussing what will happen for the upcoming show. Jennifer saying, "They said 12 minutes. I got kind of a good confirmation that we could have an extra minute or 2. So now we're at like 13-14 minutes. I think, Shakira, what we should have is you should have half the time and I should have half. If it was going to be a double headliner, they should have given us 20 minutes. That's what they should have done." Yeah, she clearly wasn't happy about anything in regards to the halftime show and how it was being run, and Estefan saw that and seemed to call her out about her bad attitude in regards to the performance, obviously glad that she had declined the offer. This isn't the first time that Jennifer Lopez has fallen under controversy for things that she's said about other performers, some fans thinking that her response to sharing the halftime show made her seem entitled. She's thrown her own shade at a few different celebrities, so let's run through a few of them. She said about Gwyneth Paltrow, "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." She also dissed Winona Ryder, saying, "In Hollywood she's revered. She gets nominated for Oscars, but I've never heard anyone in the public or among my friends say, 'Oh, I love her.'" She also accused Salma Hayek of lying, saying, "She's a sexy bombshell and those are the kinds of roles she does. says, "I do all kinds of different things. It makes me laugh when she says she got offered Selena, which was an outright lie. If that's what she does to get herself publicity, then that's her thing." So yeah, if you're gonna be giving shade, you gotta be able to take it too.
To no surprise, at 10, Nikki tutorials. She pretty much opened the floodgates. That would be the downfall of Ellen, although she didn't even really have much of a downfall. I mean, sure, people think differently of Ellen now, but the reality is I don't think she'll ever actually be cancelled. She was once with her old show, but that's besides the point. Anyway, after Nikki would appear on the show shortly after revealing to her millions of subscribers that she is transgender, it seems she'd be making headlines again, speaking on her experience on the show. For those of you unaware, someone tried to blackmail Nikki, which led to her telling the world her story. Of course, this got media attention and led to her being on Ellen, but it turns out the experience was comparable to Teletubbies After Dark, as Nikki put it. She explained Ellen didn't even introduce herself or come over to say hello before the interview, and that she couldn't use one of the bathrooms because it was reserved for the Jonas Brothers. Now, that's not to say that Nikki wasn't appreciative of the platform Ellen gave her, but she just expected the host to be a little more welcoming and warm than she was. At number 9, Kathy Griffin. It seems all this started shortly after comedic legend Joan Rivers passed away in 2014, but didn't come to light until about 2018. While on tour, Griffin talked about her feud with Ellen, explaining its origin, which started over a conversation with Joan and Kathy. I quote, "One of the things that really hurt Joan, and we talked about it at our last meal together, was that Ellen always shunned her and Ellen thought she was vulgar and not funny. I just called her and I said, look, woman to woman, comic to comic, I think you need to let go of your hatred for Joan Rivers. She's passed away, just do an effing tribute, be cool." Apparently Ellen's response was, "There's a difference between mean and funny." And that didn't sit well with Kathy. Her response? "That effing set me off. So we had a fight, which I use inflammatory words like, look, you effing untalented hack." You know when you're fighting with someone and you kind of laugh at a point? Yeah, not that day. Griffin admits she tried to since make amends, but she is simply not Ellen's cup of tea. Number 8, Hassan Minhaj. Look guys, when someone corrects you on how to say your name, you don't correct them back. It's like someone calling me Jared Bronstein and me saying no, it's Steen, and they say no, it's Stein. Like, are you good, bro? And that's quite literally what Ellen did while Hassan was on her show. When the interview started, she said his name incorrectly, to which he said no, and she literally said yes. And they said no again. Now, I'm not going to say she was being malicious, nor am I painting Ellen to be a villain here, but I mean, how do you say that to someone? Either way, he went on to explain how to properly say his name, and later on his show Patriot Act, he actually responded to a fan's question about his name. Minhaj explained how early on in his career at open mics, people would encourage him to use a stage name because no one would be able to pronounce his name. He went by Sean for a bit until he decided to stick to his roots, explaining, "You'll have people who are like, this is my Chinese name, this is my American name, but I'm like, dude, F that. Your name's your name." Number 7, Priyanka Chopra. She's actually had 2 experiences with Ellen, but I'm going to focus on the one where she was called out for not responding to the wedding invite. Of course, there was a time Ellen made a comment saying that the TV show Quantico, starring Chopra, was handed to her, which, even if it was, it seems kind of belittling to say that on national TV. But the other time was after Chopra got married to Nick Jonas. While appearing on Ellen's show, they talked about the ceremony, and after Chopra explained it really wasn't all that big, Ellen said she was still surprised not to be invited, considering her close relationship with Nick. But Chopra was quick to say she was surprised Ellen didn't even respond to the invitation, which Ellen denied receiving. While Chopra is seen saying, "I was like, we're not good enough for Ellen," you could actually hear Ellen saying there was no invitation through a somewhat forced smile. It was a really awkward encounter. They were talking over each other, but it got even more awkward, especially after Chopra said she wouldn't come to India. She didn't even respond anymore. "Nick, you had such a great relationship with her. I was very offended for him, but I'm just the wife. I don't know anything." Ellen just replied by quoting, "I'm just the wife," while laughing, kind of like that, and then changed the subject real quick. Now, it's safe to say Ellen has somewhat built a reputation of not responding to invites, and then no surprise, we got another situation just like that on this list a little later on. At number 6, Blake Shelton. Shelton has been on Ellen's show numerous times, and they clearly have a good relationship, or so it seems on air. But that doesn't mean Blake still won't call his friends out, even if it's on national television. During one of their interviews, Ellen handed Blake a clock with a print of himself and his longtime girlfriend, Gwen Stefani, making a joke that time's running out and he has to propose. But the next time Blake was on the show and Ellen brought up the gift, Blake fully called her out. Ellen started with, "Let's talk about Gwen. I gave you a clock. Remember that clock I gave you? To remind you, time is ticking." And Blake replied with, "But you didn't give it to me." I walked backstage and somebody back there was like, "Hey, thanks for being on the show. Could I have that?" And they took it. And I haven't seen it. So time didn't really start ticking at that moment. She said, "We haven't given it to you? Well, that's not right. Why do we need it?" To which Blake replied, "You took it back because whoever your next guest was, you replaced the picture and did the same crap to them and embarrassed them." Ellen tried covering herself, making a joke of it, saying, "Now she's engaged," referring to Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez, who was the celebrity couple that replaced Blake and Gwen. But, you know, it's still very awkward if you ask me. Now at number 5, Mark Ruffalo. The man is outspoken on Twitter regarding his politics, and regardless of who you are, if he has an issue, he'll let you know. After Ellen was seen sitting next to George W. Bush at a Cowboys game, the internet went off. Ellen tried to explain that she was invited to the game with her wife Portia by Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, aka America's team, even though they haven't won a Super Bowl in almost 25 years, but that's besides the point. When the photo of Ellen next to Bush started going viral, she receives backlash considering the latter's policies, specifically against same-sex marriage. Ellen explained on a segment during her show that just because she doesn't agree with someone's beliefs doesn't mean she can't befriend them, and went on to say how she stands by her beliefs of being kind to everyone. But it seems Mark Ruffalo wasn't having it, retweeting a Vanity Fair article speaking on the situation and captioning it, I quote, "Sorry, until George W. Bush is brought to justice for the crimes of the Iraq War, including American-led torture, Iraqi deaths, and displacement, and the deep scars, emotional and otherwise, inflicted on our military that served his folly, we can't even begin to talk about kindness." Safe to say she didn't comment on that. At number 4, Wendy Williams. Now it's no secret Wendy can be problematic at times, so to no surprise, Wendy threw shade at Ellen after she won an award. Back at the 2019 People's Choice Awards, where Ellen won the award for Daytime Talk Show Host, fellow nominee Williams had some choice words for the winner. While rolling her eyes with a completely unenthusiastic voice, Williams, while on her show, said, "Congratulations, Ellen, you won again. People's choice." Alright. Now people say Wendy is just sour that she didn't win, but considering how Ellen has won the award almost every year since 2005, with the exception of 2010 and 2018, well, I get why Wendy is upset. The award has changed names a few times, but Ellen won it from 2005 through to 2009, and then won again in 2011 straight through to 2018. She made history in 2017 when she won her 20th award, and at some point, I mean, you gotta question who's voting here. At 3, Tom Bergeron. While Ellen was hosting the Oscars, it appears she missed a few of her cues, either because she was nervous or maybe she was distracted. Truth be told, I didn't mind her as a host, and that Oscar selfie will forever go down in the books as something great. But it seems Tom was quick to throw a jab at the daytime host, simply tweeting out, "Is Ellen missing cues because she's watching something better backstage?" Of course, he went on to say the selfie was great, and it seems he wasn't even all that serious, but more so was just making light of the situation. Still, there's truth in every joke, and I think Tom said what we're all thinking. What the hell's going on? Number 2, Dakota Johnson. It'll probably go down in the history of Ellen as one of the most awkward encounters, but just like Priyanka Chopra, Johnson here was called out by Ellen for not inviting her to a celebration. This time it was Johnson's birthday party, and after Ellen wished her a belated happy birthday about 2 months late, she asks, "How was the party? I wasn't invited," seemingly putting Johnson on the spot. But it seems this came to bite Ellen, as Johnson was quick to shut that down. Johnson explains the year before Ellen gave her a hard time for not inviting her to her last party, but she didn't even know she wanted to come. So this time around, Johnson made sure to invite the daytime host, but never heard back. After an awkward encounter of them trying to confirm whether or not Ellen was invited, Johnson specifically calls out Ellen's producer, Jonathan, who confirms Ellen was invited. She makes a joke saying she was busy with that thing, obviously trying to make light of the situation, which turned incredibly awkward very quickly. At number 1, Kevin T. Porter. During the whole pandemic, it seems Ellen faced an insane amount of backlash, which appeared to start with Nikki's experience on the show. But what turned a small snowfall into an avalanche was a Twitter thread started by Porter. Right now, we all need a little kindness. You know, like Ellen DeGeneres always talks about. She's also notoriously one of the meanest people alive. Respond to this with some of the most insane stories you've heard about Ellen being mean, and I'll match everyone with $2 to @LAFoodBank. The tweet currently has 2.7 thousand replies, and around the 300 mark, Kevin showed a receipt for a $600 donation, and said although he isn't going to continue matching $2 per story, encouraged others to donate and continue sharing their personal experience. It wasn't pretty.
Number 10, Shakira. The singer released a savage new diss track earlier this week aimed at her ex, football star Gerard Piqué. In the song, she sings the line, "You left my mother-in-law as my neighbor, with the press at my door and the debt to the taxman." To give you some context, it has been rumored that Piqué's mom knew about his infidelity all along, and tried to convince Shakira that nothing was happening. As the two of them became very close over the years and once had a great relationship. To make matters worse, his mother is literally Shakira's neighbor, as she lives on her street. In her diss track, the singer also takes a swing at her ex's new 23-year-old girlfriend, Clara Chia. The lyrics against her are pretty harsh when translated from Spanish to English. She references Clara's age and says, "I'm worth 2 22-year-olds. You traded a Ferrari for a Twingo. You traded a Rolex for a Casio." Then at another point in the song, she says, "She's got the name of a good person. Clearly that's not how it sounds." She also takes a dig at Piqué and says, "A lot of gyms, but work on your brain a little bit too. A she-wolf like me isn't for rookies, and I was out of your league, which is why you're with someone just like you." Number 9, Miley Cyrus. The hype around Miley's new song Flowers began when fans noticed its release date. The new single dropped on January the 13th, which was also Liam Hemsworth's 33rd birthday. While yes, this could simply be a coincidence, when you look at the lyrics of the song, it actually seems like it's a lot more than that. Although Bruno Mars isn't credited as a sample, many people believe that his 2012 hit song When I Was Your Man was reworked to fit into Miley's breakup anthem. This pretty much makes her a lyrical genius. In Bruno's song, he expressed regret about a past relationship and pretty much admits that he should have been more attentive to his ex when they were together. He sings, "I should have bought you flowers and held your hand, should have given you all my hours when I had the chance." While in Miley's version, she changes up the lyrics a bit to reflect her state of mind without Liam. She sings, "I can buy myself flowers and I can hold my own hand, talk to myself for hours, say things you don't understand." In the song, you can see that she's finding joy and empowerment after a breakup, and essentially saying that she's better off on her own. In fact, even the tune of the two tracks are similar. So far, fans have also speculated that Liam once dedicated the song to Miley, and that's why she used it. Number 8. Taylor Swift. People believe that the 19th track from her latest album Midnights, called Would've Could've Should've, is about her relationship with her ex John Mayer. She was only 19 years old when she dated the singer, who was 32 at the time. This was back in the late 2000s, so it might not be a coincidence that it's the 19th track on the special edition version of her album. The lyrics give it all away. She says, "I would have stayed on my knees, and I damn sure never would have danced with the devil at 19. And the God's honest truth is that the pain was heaven," which is pretty damning evidence. Although John has yet to publicly respond to the song, he has called out Taylor for her lyrics in the past. Back in 2012, he told Rolling Stone that he was really humiliated by her song Dear John and expressed his resentment, saying, "I didn't deserve it. I'm pretty good at taking accountability now, and I never did anything to deserve that. It was a really lousy thing for her to do." As for Taylor's reaction, she said, "How presumptuous. I never disclose who my songs are about." Number 7. Justin Timberlake. The pop star wrote the 2002 hit song Cry Me a River about his relationship with Britney Spears. The lyrics paint a picture of a relationship that gets ruined because the girl cheats, and to get even, the guy makes sure that she finds out that he's moved on with his life. The girl then gets upset and cries a river because she realized that she screwed up and lost him forever. The track was written and recorded after a heated phone conversation between Justin and Britney, where she allegedly broke up with him. Justin said that it only took him 2 hours to write the song. In the video, he uses a camera to record himself sleeping with another girl. When his girlfriend comes back in, he sets up the camera so she will be able to see the tape, and the actress in the video looks almost identical to Britney Spears, and clearly that was intentional. The former couple dated for 2.5 years before they broke up in 2002. He publicly claimed that she cheated on him with her choreographer, Wade Robson. She eventually hit back at his allegations in 2003 and revealed that Justin was the only guy that she'd ever been with. Now, with the release of the 2021 documentary Framing Britney Spears, the song has been criticized for its misogynistic undertones. Number 6. Ariana Grande. The 2018 love song anthem Thank You Next has been described as an ode to all boyfriends, and it was definitely all that and everything more. The song dropped after Ariana and Pete Davidson ended their engagement, so the timing was not a coincidence. Often thought of as one of the most surprising Hollywood relationships, the former couple publicly revealed that they were dating at the end of May in 2018, before getting engaged just a few weeks later. But just as swiftly as things started, they rapidly came to an end. At one point, Ariana described her relationship as an amazing distraction, and in response, Pete called her out on stage during a stand-up performance. He said, "Can you imagine if I did that? My career would be over tomorrow if I spray painted myself brown and hopped on the cover of Vogue magazine and just started hating on my ex. Can you imagine?" So obviously their whirlwind romance didn't end on the best note, and that's why Ariana dragged him in her song. She also referenced a few more of her former exes like Big Sean and Ricky Alvarez, who all got a page in her burn book. The music video was inspired by some of the most iconic teen rom-coms to date, like Mean Girls and Legally Blonde. Number 5. Mariah Carey. The song Obsessed is the first single from the Grammy Award-winning singer's album Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel, and it was very clearly targeting Eminem. In Mariah's 2005 music video, she wore a black hoodie, a goatee, and sweatpants as she portrayed a love-struck gangster with an impressive collection of her photos. Obsessed debuted during her highly publicized feud with Eminem. After the video aired, fans couldn't help but notice the eerie resemblance between her character and the rapper's iconic look from the movie 8 Mile. For some people, the song represented Mariah taking a stand against his claims that they had an affair at the height of their careers. In his song Bagpipes, Eminem said, "Mariah, whatever happened to us? Why did we have to break up? Nick Cannon better back the F up." In response, she sang, "You're delusional, boy, you're losing your mind. Why are you obsessed with me? Lying that you're sexing me. Telling the world how much you miss me, but we were never, so why you tripping?" Mariah also threw some subtle shade at him with the lyrics, "You're a mom and pop, I'm a corporation. I'm a press conference, you're a conversation." So with all things considered, you can see why people think Obsessed is all about Eminem. Number 4, Perry Edwards. As fans know, the hit girl power anthem Shout Out to My Ex dropped back in 2016, a little over a year after Perry and One Direction's Zayn Malik went their separate ways. Upon its release, listeners were shook over the not-so-subtle lines directed at Zayn. If you didn't know, fans first speculated that the two started dating after they both appeared on The X Factor together. After 1 year, Zayn and Perry went public with their relationship when photos of them kissing surfaced in May of 2012. The pair got engaged in August of 2013 before they hit the red carpet together at One Direction's This Is Us film premiere. Describing the end of her relationship with Zayn, Perry said, "It was horrible, the worst time of my life. 4-year relationship, 2-year engagement, ended with a single text message. Just like that. Even though things in my career were going really well, it was incredibly difficult for me." Although Little Mix never confirmed that Shout Out to My Ex was actually written about Zayn, his cousin Sasha Malik revealed on Twitter that yes, it really was. The lyrics in it include, "Took 4 long years to call it quits. Guess I should say thank you for the hate yous and the tattoos. Oh baby, I'm cool by the way, ain't sure I loved you anyway." Number 3, Ed Sheeran. During a Click 98.9 radio interview in September of 2013, the singer admitted that he dated Ellie Goulding earlier that year. The following year, he released a song called Don't, which was reportedly written about Ellie cheating on him with Niall Horan while they were staying at the same hotel. So I think it's safe to say that that relationship didn't end well. In the lyrics, he sings, "And I never saw him as a threat until you disappeared with him to have sex, of course. It's not like we were both on tour, we were staying on the same effing hotel floor." Ed then confirmed the rumors about the inspiration for the song during an interview with The Sun. He said, "I got over the anger the moment I wrote the song. That's the end of it. I'm grateful I could get a song out of it, to be honest." In 2015, Ellie then released a track called On My Mind, which many people thought was a response to Don't. The song describes a relationship that one person took more seriously than the other, and it even mentions a guy with a lot of tattoos, which is very clearly Ed Sheeran. So if anything, it seemed like he thought that Ellie cheated on him. Meanwhile, she interpreted their relationship as not that serious. Number 2, Justin Bieber. Before meeting Hailey Baldwin, the Canadian pop star was famously linked to Selena Gomez for many years. The pair eventually went public with their relationship in 2011 after they made an appearance at the Vanity Fair Oscars party. Many fans shipped their young romance intensely, even opting to call them Jelena as a couple name. But since their relationship was so public, the two of them had a difficult time keeping things just between them. There were so many accusations of cheating and feelings being hurt left and right. Rumors of infidelity eventually led to the couple split in 2012, but since then they have got back together and broken up countless times, with a final split in March of 2018. While Justin has seemingly written dozens of songs about Selena, one of the shadiest ones is his 2015 Love Yourself. Fans think the song title was perhaps inspired by her back tattoo, and although Justin has never confirmed that the song is actually about her, during an appearance on air with Ryan Seacrest, he pretty much admitted that yes, she had some kind of influence, saying, "A lot of my inspiration comes from her. It was a long relationship, and a relationship that created heartbreak and created happiness, and a lot of different emotions that I wanted to write about." And coming in at number 1, Selena Gomez. The singer has also released tons of shady songs about Justin Bieber, both during and after their 7-year romance. With tracks like Same Old Love, It Ain't Me, and many other songs on her Rare album, you can see that she really poured her heart and soul into the lyrics. But the most obvious one is probably 2019's Lose You to Love Me. Fans interpreted the song as a direct response to Love Yourself because Justin started dating Hailey Baldwin 2 months after they broke up for the final time in 2018. In the song, she also name drops his 2015 album Purpose and says that she wants to set it on fire. In Lose You to Love Me, she sings, "I gave it my all and they know it. You turned me down and now it's showing. In 2 months, you replaced us like it was easy." Soon after releasing the song, Selena all but confirmed Lose You to Love Me is about her ex during an October 2019 On Air with Ryan Seacrest appearance, where she said, "I wrote this song over a year ago. I feel completely different from when I wrote it. It's more beautiful for me because I know exactly where I was when I wrote it and how how I felt. Number 10, Lizzo. According to TikTok user Taryn Hart, she and her mother were very excited when they won meet and greet Lizzo tickets on a radio show, as well as tickets to go to her concert in Dallas. After queuing for 3.5 hours, Taryn said that she finally got to meet her idol, but it was not the experience that she expected. Right away, she walked in and complimented Lizzo, saying, "OMG, you're so beautiful and you're even prettier in person." But instead of responding or saying thank you, apparently Lizzo just nodded her head in silence. Then her mother said, "I love your music and I love listening to it on the radio." And Lizzo's response was, you guessed it, more silent nodding. Taryn said the woman did not say anything. She didn't speak. Right after she nodded, she turned and smiled for the picture. After waiting 3.5 hours, that was all we got. I didn't even hear what Lizzo actually sounds like. While this experience must have been disappointing, it sounds like she was just exhausted and not necessarily trying to be rude. Number 9, Hailey Bieber. Being a waitress at a fancy restaurant will sometimes give you the chance to meet celebrities when you're working. TikToker Julia Carolan was working at a fancy restaurant in Manhattan and documented her bad experience with Hailey Bieber. In the video, she said, "This is going to be controversial, but I've met her a handful of times and each time she was not nice. I really want to like her, but I have to give her a 3.5 out of 10. Sorry." When the video went viral, Hailey eventually saw it and quickly took to the comment section of the video to apologize. She said, "Just came across this video and wanted to say I'm so sorry if I've ever given you bad vibes or a bad attitude. That was not ever my intention." She also added that she'd like to apologize to Julia in person and thanked her for calling her out. Now obviously there's no excuse for that behavior, but unlike the Jenner sisters, at least Hailey took some form of accountability. Number 8, Alexa Snap. A former Hollywood stylist by the name of Tamaran dished the dirt on her TikTok page and spoke about the worst stars that she's ever had to work with. She rated the Pitch Perfect star Alexa Snap a 1 out of 10 and said, "There's some celebrities who don't pay because they think their name is enough, and out of the Pitch Perfect cast, that was Alexa Snap." Tamaran helped put together her outfit for the 2015 MTV Movie Awards. She said, "Whilst being fitted in this dress, Alexis decided it would be wonderful to eat a slice of chocolate ice cream cake. Part of the cake melted onto the dress, and guess who had to clean it?" The stylist then revealed that a certain designer had lent the actress $1,300 worth of jewelry to wear on the red carpet, but when it came time for her to return the jewels, Alexis said that she couldn't find it. And on top of all of that, she wanted all the services for free. Tamaran said, "When my boss asked for payment, Alexis responded with, 'I needed to pay you?' Talk about nightmare." Number 7, Kendall Jenner. TikTok user Julia Carolan revealed that the model allegedly assigned someone else to speak for her at restaurants. She said, "This is another one where unfortunately I did not have the best experience with them. Used to come in all the time and was pretty cold towards staff. She also usually has someone else to speak for her and doesn't speak directly to staff. From my experiences with her, I have to give her a 4 out of 10. While it's possible that she might have been having an off day, this story does line up with another incident that occurred in 2014 at Mercer Kitchen in New York City. Kendall was dining at the restaurant with Hailey Bieber when she got upset because the staff wouldn't serve her alcohol, considering that she was underage at the time. So then she left in a hurry without paying for her meal. When the waitress confronted her about it, she apparently threw $20 bills at her. Kendall later admitted that yes, she did forget to pay for her meal, but she denied throwing money at the waitress who chased her. Number 6, James Corden. Last month, the owner of a high-end New York City restaurant called Balthazar made a viral Instagram post blasting James Corden, all for his horrible behavior towards staff. He claimed in one instance James demanded 2 free rounds of drinks for him and his friends after he presented a hair that was found on his food and said, "Get us another round of drinks this second, and also take care of all of our drinks so far. This way I won't write any nasty reviews on Yelp." According to the owner, James was so awful that he felt compelled to out him publicly and ban him from the restaurant. In response to the incident, a TikToker by the name of Nasa El Reyes made a video calling him out and said James Corden is a prime example of a red flag in celebrities. He said that the rumors have been boiling about how rude James Corden is behind the scenes, and this is probably just the tip of the iceberg. Nasa went on to say that if a man is rude to the waitstaff, he will be rude to you, which is 100% accurate. Number 5, Kylie Jenner. The former waitress Julia Carolan also exposed Kylie Jenner big time for allegedly being a horrible tipper. Speaking about the experience, Julia said she was fine, but she tipped $20 on a $500 dinner bill. Do with that information what you will. She gave Kylie a 2 out of 10 rating, which was the lowest out of all the other celebrities. The video video received millions of likes and thousands of comments, all from people who were as equally disappointed in Kylie's tip as Julia was. Someone commented, "Kylie tipped $20 and she's the youngest billionaire, and I really feel like Kylie thinks $20 means 20%. Ouch." These days, there are more and more conversations surrounding tipping culture, and most people can agree that it's a messed up system and restaurants should just pay their waitstaff a living wage. But we can also agree that a so-called billionaire can afford to leave more than a $20 tip. It's not just stingy, it's incredibly disrespectful. Number 4, Nicki Minaj. Cindy, also known as Sin Cindy on TikTok, is a former customer service representative for a few major airlines at LAX, and she had plenty of run-ins with celebrities over the years. It turns out her experience with Nicki Minaj was not a positive one. In fact, she rated it a 2 out of 10. Allegedly, the rapper did not want to get off the airplane until the flight attendants got off first. Cindy said, "I know some people are gonna come for me for this one, but 2 out of 10. Wouldn't get off the aircraft until everyone else got off, which she can't do because the flight attendants need to get off. I was a fan before I met her, but after that, yeah, no." So it's a little difficult to say why it is that Nicki wanted to be the last person to get off flight, but it might have just had something to do with privacy. As long as she wasn't being super demanding about the request though, I don't really see an issue with this one. Number 3, Naomi Campbell. According to a flight attendant Tom, who goes by the name of TrampTom69 on TikTok, the model is allegedly very concerned with germs on airplanes. As a result, Tom said that he had some mixed things to say about her, but he did call her a hygienic queen, claiming that she sits on napkins whenever she flies to avoid touching the seat, and so she gets points for that. While he didn't go into full details about his experience, judging by her history, we know that Naomi might not be the easiest celebrity to deal with on flights. In 2008, she was sentenced to 200 hours of community service, all for attacking 2 police officers during an air rage incident at Heathrow Airport. She was traveling in first class and became irate when the captain explained to her why her bag had not been placed on the flight. Prosecutors said that she shouted a number of obscenities at him, tried to kick the police who were summoned to remove her after she ordered the captain to delay takeoff and look for her missing piece of luggage. So that sounds like it would have been a complete mess to deal with. Number 2, Orlando Bloom. The actor was recently exposed by an Apple Store employee on TikTok who goes by the name of Emma-tainment. She posted a video where she rated the experiences that she's had meeting celebrities who've come into the store. Emma gave Orlando a 5 out of 10, mostly for his bizarre behavior. She said, "This guy came in with a motorcycle helmet, went all the way to the back, went to the staircase, which people aren't allowed to go back there unless you're an employee. And I went back there and I said, 'Do you need help with anything?' And then he took off his helmet and it was Orlando Bloom." But apart from that story, there hasn't really been many complaints about how he treats staff. In fact, in 2017, it came out that he unknowingly got a waitress in London fired from her workplace after he slept with her. But when he found out about what happened, he called the venue, apologized profusely, and tried to get her job back. I mean, this doesn't necessarily make him a good guy, but at least he tried to set things right. Coming in at number 1, Jennifer Lopez. The former Hollywood stylist called Tamaran, who has worked for several celebrity stylists from 2008 to 2017, took to TikTok to document her less than pleasant experience with JLo. She said that people who work for JLo aren't allowed to look at her, and there's a reason why she can't hold down a costumer or a seamstress. This lines up pretty well with all the reports of the singer's unpleasant behavior. Apparently, she tries to avoid contact with anyone in the service industry and makes illogical demands. According to a flight attendant for United Airlines, the singer flat out ignored the staff members and didn't even directly respond to them. The employee told Star magazine, "I just said, 'What can I get you to drink?' But Jennifer refused to even acknowledge me. Turned her head away and told her personal assistant, 'Please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke,' and she wouldn't even look at me. It was sad. She seems so sweet in her movies." So it's likely that she's very different in real life. Number 10, Anne Hathaway. A woman by the name of Natasha Singh posted a viral TikTok about the unfortunate incident where she got yelled at by the star of Devil Wears Prada. The story goes that she was at the Oakland airport in California, and she had just gotten off a flight and was speaking to her mum on the phone during a layover. She said, "I see this girl that looks familiar. She's dressed in black and she's trying to be low-key, but she made eye contact with me. I couldn't remember her name, so I told my mum on the phone, 'I think the Princess Diary girl is looking at me.'" Natasha said at this point she smiled at her because she didn't know what else to do. Then apparently Anne flips out and starts yelling at her because she doesn't want to be looked at. Her assistant then comes over demanding that she stop taking pictures, but because of all the yelling, fans started to swarm around them, and so Anne and her assistant eventually just bolted out of there. To sum up the whole experience, Natasha said she was a complete biatch and made a scene for no reason. Number 9, Machine Gun Kelly. A security guard who goes by the name of Davis, or just DA on TikTok, spoke about his experience with with the rapper in 2011 when he was working at the Showbox. He said Tech9 was coming through and MGK was opening for him. Tech9 is a very professional group. They always use their passes. They have a very strict tour manager. MGK was parked out front. Davis went on to say, long story short, there were these stairs and a bar entrance that he couldn't get into. He tried to bust through without an ID, without a pass, and without a shirt. Then he claimed that MGK tried to push through a 150-pound kid with a black belt, but when he realized that he couldn't get through, he ordered his security guard to start beating up the kid. This is when Davis said that he came in with reinforcements and put MGK in a chokehold against the wall. As a result, the rapper got kicked off the tour and banned from Seattle the very next day. So it sounds like he got what he deserved, but I don't think he's changed very much at all since then. Number 8. Nick Cannon. YouTuber Trisha Paytas hopped on that same TikTok trend talking about the time that she met Nick Cannon while she was auditioning for America's Got Talent. She said, I always heard he was a really nice guy, and I think he was just having the worst day ever when I auditioned. She said she hadn't talked to Nick before the show started, but said that the other judges were really nice, including Howard Stern, Sharon Osbourne, and Howie Mandel. Trisha said, Nick was horrible. Nick looked at me like I had escaped in there and somehow got past everybody. He literally yelled for security when there was no one around. It was so weird, the judges were all looking and it was hella embarrassing. Apparently Nick proceeded to yell at her and told her that she needed to get the F out of there. This was another classic Trisha Paytas story, which holds up considering that she's auditioned for and been on about a million reality TV shows. Obviously Nick thought she was somehow trespassing backstage because no one told him that she was a contestant. Still, that would have been humiliating for her. Number 7. Justin Bieber. TikTok user named Franathan opened up about the time that she and her family met Bieber, and surprise surprise, he was a massive D-bag. She said, for some context, in 2010 my family was selected as one of the families that gets to go on a sick kids trip to Walt Disney World. This is because my younger sister had cancer. Franny went on to say that one of the celebrities on this trip was Justin Bieber, and then she showed a photo of her family posing next to him. She said, he was a D then and he's a D now. He was exceedingly rude to my sister. You could definitely tell that Justin was only there because his press people said it would look good for him to mingle with the sick kids. Keep in mind that there were kids that were in much worse condition than my sister, and literally every single family had the exact same experience with this kid. In the comment section of the video, you could see a lot of people were divided over how they felt about this story. Some fans defended Justin because he was only 16 at the time, but others weren't so forgiving. Number 6. Mel Gibson. A 25-year-old former barista who goes by the name of Maddie Ray posted on TikTok about her horrible encounter that she had with Mel Gibson in 2018. She was working at an upscale cafe in downtown Vancouver when he walked in. She said she didn't recognize him at first, but said that he was loud, he was rude, and just generally unpleasant. Maddie said, as he was ordering, he was leaning in very close to my face, and in the middle of his order he burped right in my face and just carried on as if nothing happened. If that wasn't bad enough, apparently he didn't even tip. She only realized who he was after her co-worker had recognized him, but she said that it was an interaction she would never forget. While I will say this encounter seems particularly gross, especially with the burping, something about it is very on brand for Mel Gibson when you compare it to other stories about him. Number 5. Dove Cameron. A former film extra and dancer named Cameron posted on TikTok about the time that he lived in Vancouver, and he got hired to be a background dancer in the Disney movie Descendants 3. He talked about the horrible experience he had working with Dove, saying every second we were not filming she was making out with her boyfriend, to the point where they were doing push-ups on top of each other on set, and we were all waiting for her. But he said the real drama started when the director told him and the group of extras that he was with to look at Dove because in the next scene her character was about to do something bad. He said, I guess Dove wasn't paying attention because the cameras started rolling and we were staring at her, and she goes, stop, cut, why are they looking at me? They're not allowed to be here. And apparently she started trying to call security on them to get them kicked out. Okay, this one is completely indefensible, but is it really surprising that a massive Disney star is also massively entitled? It's almost like she knows that she can get away with yelling at the extras. Number 4. Bill Murray. A woman named Adiza Ferris posted on TikTok about the traumatizing moment that the comedian embarrassed her on a flight. She was sitting next to her husband and her newborn daughter when Bill Murray got on the flight. She said he looks and he sees that he's sitting next to us and he loses it. He's like, I don't want to be on this flight, I don't want to sit next to a baby. And he was like, this is the worst seat in the entire plane. And I was mortified. I was so scared and so stressed out during the entire flight. To be fair, Adiza does say that she understands not many people would want to sit next to a baby, but apparently her daughter did not make a sound the entire flight as she was fast asleep. At the end of the video, she shows an actual photo that she took of Bill Murray on the plane, looking pretty pissed pissed off. I mean, I can understand why he would be reluctant to sit next to a baby, but there's really no need to try and humiliate her either. Flying with a newborn would be stressful enough as it is. Number 3. Tyra Banks. Back with another story from Trisha Paytas. This one was about her horrible experience going on Tyra's talk show in the 2000s. She started her TikTok saying, "I usually try to give celebrities the benefit of the doubt because you never know if they're having a bad day and people are always pushing and pulling for their attention. But mine was with Tyra Banks. They paid me and asked me to be on her show in episode 1 of season 5. The producers allegedly told her just to be herself because the episode was supposed to be about natural beauty. Because of that, the producers made her take out all her extensions as well as her fake nails to have her on the show. Trisha said that once she sat down, Tyra became extremely rude for no reason, telling her that her hair was fried and told the producers to get her off the stage because she didn't belong on her show. And to top it all off, apparently they didn't even end up paying for her time. So it sounds like Tyra just straight up didn't like her appearance and didn't care about her feelings enough to continue the show. Number 2. Jessie J. Responding to the hashtag celebrity beef trend on TikTok, a London woman named Nene surprised people with her story about running into the singer at Heathrow Airport. She was there hoping for the chance to meet 5 Seconds of Summer, and then she sees Jessie J just randomly appear at the British Airways check-in desk. She said, "Me being a fan of hers at the time, I literally walked over to her and said, 'Hi,' and then she turned around and gave me the dirtiest look you've ever seen in your life. She then looked at someone next to her and that person said, 'Can you please get away from her?' This honestly ruined her for me. I was such a big fan." After that encounter, Nene said that she was not able to listen to her music since. To be honest, I have to side with the woman here because she's not the only person who's had a bad experience meeting Jessie J. In 2020, Michelle Visage from RuPaul's Drag Race said Jessie was a cold person and she wasn't nice when she came on the show as a guest judge. And coming in at number 1, Cuba Gooding Jr. A TikTok user named Hannah posted a candid video naming and shaming the worst celebrity that she's ever met. She started off the video saying, "I debated not doing this one, but honestly F that and F this guy." She called Gooding Jr. a smug a-hole and said, "This guy came to one of the Fashion Week parties that my magazine was throwing. He actually demanded that we send a car to pick him up, and when we told him that we couldn't, he got absurdly angry." She said that he eventually showed up and had 2 assistants with him, and apparently he sent them out into the crowd to vet and recruit women and bring them back to where he was sitting. Hannah went on to claim that he was forcefully women in the crowd, catcalling people, belligerently drunk, extremely rude to staff, just being gross and really predatory. The crazy thing is that we know this story to be true, as there was even a page 6 article published with multiple witness accounts of the actor's behavior during the party.